Hi everybody, really excited to have you here this evening. Thank you so much for engaging and thank you so much for coming to this evening's FYMMO webinar on the careers fair and the do's and don'ts and what it is and essentially how you get the best out of it. And that's what we want. We want you to have the best user experience. So really grateful to FYMMO for putting this on and for allowing us to kind of come together tonight and really show you what we've been preparing for you over the past few weeks. So really looking forward to getting into it. And I suppose one of the first things that I want you to do is just watch this video.
Trying to get some new shit in there, swimwear, going to the pool shit. I'm like, yo,
Where's Louisa? Oh, there she is. This is my co-star.
Well done, guys. It was great. And I suppose, you know, what we're trying to get out there is that this is an amazing opportunity. And we're going to talk about the companies in a little while. You know, we're going to bring you in through the companies and talk to you about what it is that they're looking for, why it is they're here, why they're interested in IADT students anyway. So, you know, there's lots going on tonight. We're going to try and get through some interviews and some interview tips and really just kind of, you know, bring you through stuff. But I suppose, like, you know, we did want to start this in a certain way. So does anybody want to jump in there?
Yeah, I think we aren't going to be showing you videos all night for certain, sure. But we do want to add one more little video. If our wonderful Caroline Healy could roll Stefan's kind of how to get into one of the bunch. He's our anchor between himself and Louisa. He keeps it sane. So
Okay, but
yeah.
I think one of the things that is really clear straight away is that it's a really easy system to use. You can go in and look at it without even signing up, have a look at the companies who are there, check their profiles, check what they're doing, check what they're looking for. These are really nice people, by the way. We have all been working with these folks for the last month to organize this for you. So, you know, they're here because they want to meet you. This was like pushing against an open door for us, actually. We didn't really have to persuade anybody, really, in terms of actually coming to this fair. They're really interested in IADT students, and that is fantastic to see, you know, especially in, you know, where we are at the moment, especially after the year that we've just had. We have such a mix of companies there. You know, and you could see by Stefan's piece, you know, when he was doing that, it was at kind of the very start of as the companies were uploading, so some of their logos weren't there, and you know, and different things, and maybe some meetings weren't up, and you'll find you might go into a company and a schedule isn't up. It doesn't mean that it's not going to be put up. It just means that the company hasn't kind of got around to it yet, but it is coming. Or you might see you go into another company and their schedules are full already, seriously, but actually everybody's keeping an eye on their schedule. So if they need another person, you know, that they'll throw in another person and they'll open more schedules. Okay, so, and that's not a definite. I mean, some of the companies don't have that extra resource, but a lot of them do. And so they're letting a couple of schedules fill up first. So just believe me, consistently keep an eye on the app, look at the notifications that are coming in. We'll be notifying you when different things are happening within the panel discussions as well. So, you know, it's so user friendly. Download it, go in, have a look, set up an account. And setting up an account doesn't mean you need your LinkedIn and your CV and everything done straight away. It's just getting your name in there. You can add the bells and whistles afterwards. You have until the 16th of March. You know, FYI, there are CV clinics and everything is part of this. And I'm going to stop talking now for a second so that somebody else can come in and talk. Sorry, this is like we're all kind of a bit high on the amount of work we've been doing lately, and you know, and sometimes it gets hard to stop talking, but you know, so sorry, did somebody else want to come in and catch something there that I missed about the platform?
No, the platform I think is amazing, and it's really user friendly, as you can see with Stefan's walkthrough there. And just to let you know that asset plus the career CV clinic with that we did just, was it last night or the night before?
It's Monday.
And
yeah.
Also, yeah, and then the LinkedIn Rock Your Profile. These will all be available for you. You can access them through the FYMMO Facebook page or through Instagram. We'll be setting up links, and even for this talk, there'll be a link to it. It'll probably be up tomorrow. Anything
Yeah.
it usually takes a day for us to put it out. So that information, if you've missed something, don't worry. We're recording these, and you can see them later. And if there are any questions, just send us a message. Talk to Dawn. Like
Throw them into the
we're
questions
here.
box here. So if you've any questions, just throw them into the questions box here, and we can follow up on that. And just as Rebecca's talking there, you know, there are a couple of things that popped into my head. So in those schedules, you will have the opportunity to meet companies one-to-one. And you know, if you're a final year, if you're a graduate, if you're a postgraduate, and if you're a third year, companies do actually want to meet you one by one. In first and second year, you may not want to meet companies one-to-one, actually, because you're not right at that point where you feel like you want to meet companies one-to-one. But they have group schedules also. So absolutely come to the fair first and second years. Throw yourself into a group schedule. If you really know what you're about and you really, you know, want to speak to a company, yes, and you have confidence in what it is that you're doing, throw yourself into a one-to-one as well. I'm not saying that they're off limits for you, okay? But, you know, because companies that we have coming to the fair are looking for internships next year for people who are going into their third year and in their penultimate year. They're looking for lots and lots of different things. So it's as valuable for you in first and second year. What are we trying to do? We're trying to show you the opportunities that are out there and the paths that are out there for you. And that's really, really important when you're in first year, second year, third year, fourth year, postgraduate. When you're out there in the world as a graduate, regardless how long you've been out, these opportunities are still all over the place. And I suppose one of the key messages for us is, don't pretend you know what the company does. You really don't. So for example, we have Cartoon Saloon coming. I'm going to get into some of the companies, and Rebecca's going to throw up a graphic there maybe of the companies that are coming as well, so that you can see a number of the companies that are coming. Okay, and we've already sent this to you, but look, we've had to update it because, you know, there's been some change, and I'll talk to you about that in a second. But for example, Cartoon Saloon are coming. Yes, they work in animation. Yes, they're looking for that creative impetus. They're looking for photography. They're looking for art students. They're looking for animation students. Yes, they're absolutely looking for that, but they're also looking for biz comms. They're also looking, actually, they have a role in at the moment, and if you could just start the slideshow there, Rebecca, we'll actually see the whole screen that will be full of those pieces. That would be great. You know, so Cartoon Saloon are coming, yes, and they're looking for all of those things because they, you know, they're just off their success in the Golden Globes. By the way, they were one of the top 5 animation films in the world in the Golden Globes. So they are just, this is a phenomenal company. They've had you know, Academy Award nominations. They've had so much going on. This isn't their first Golden Globe nomination, by the way. You know, top 5 films, you know, there's something about that, you know. But they're looking for all of those things, but they're also looking for a talent acquisition specialist at the moment. So you've got to just start seeing these things as broader, I suppose. And that's Cartoon Saloon. So sorry, Rebecca, you wanted to jump in?
That's a really good point, because you noticed that when Stefan was doing the walkthrough, what he did was he kind of said you can filter things out. I would take what Don's saying here. Don't filter anything out. See what they're looking for. Go through, because you never know. It's a lot, you know, if you were at the event we did earlier on today that Don brought in this amazing guy from LinkedIn. His background is in the arts, but he's working for LinkedIn. It's his main kind of thing. So you just don't know what's out there. So don't filter. Have a look at everything first, and then go, yeah, that sounds right for me. I'd like to talk to these people. Blah 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 blah. Sorry to interrupt.
You're right. And what was interesting from today was in that session that Rebecca's kind of linking back to is that he's got a team of 60 people working in production in LinkedIn, and that's not about, you know, putting together LinkedIn workshops or LinkedIn training, which is what we all jumped to the conclusion that it was. That's a separate entity. LinkedIn training is a separate entity. They're talking about LinkedIn. He was talking about, you know, Caesar's Palace in LA, which is somewhere that they go to every year to put this huge event together. He was talking about all of these international events that he's working on as a production person. And he's not the only company that has that, you know, and so one of the reasons he was saying that creatives need to be on LinkedIn is because all of these companies are creating these production houses. Facebook are starting a television station this year, and they're all looking for these roles, even though they mightn't have historically been looking for them. So tech companies are moving in and going, oh yeah, we need to get some of that production piece. And they all have production teams. So he's seeing a lot more jobs on LinkedIn that are production, but actually creatives, they're not using LinkedIn. So there's a mismatch. So we need to change that message and actually get people out there. So definitely, as Rebecca said, we will have all of the links, and actually we have a dedicated page on the website that's just being built right now. It's a news story page, and everything will also be there. So there are lots of ways to access this information, but you need to be proactive now. And actually, really that's very important for us that you're proactive there, because we have nearly 40 companies coming to this careers fair, between panel discussions and people who are actually taking.
Have we lost me, or have we lost Dawn?
Taking stands. I'm still here. I'm still talking. Can you not hear me?
Yeah, no, you're back. You're back now. I just lost you there for a minute.
Okay, so
I can
hear both of you.
Okay, so sorry, I thought that I was just talking there. So what was it that that you didn't catch then? Okay, so look, I'll just get into what I was just saying there for a second. So we have over 40 companies involved in this career fair, through either taking stands at the careers fair because they want to meet you one-to-one or in groups, or someone like Dell who isn't recruiting at the moment. They're just not recruiting at the moment. They don't have any roles, but they still want to create links with us, and basically said, look, we'll do whatever, we'll come on a panel discussion. We had Brown Bag Films up until the day before yesterday, when just something came up, and it's a project critical piece, nothing they could do, but they have offered and want to come back in April instead to do a workshop and to look at and review your portfolios if that's what you're interested in. So we've all of these companies that are so interested and are here because of the innovation and the creativity that our students have. And I suppose, just to kind of give you some idea of the day and what it looks like, if Rebecca could just throw up the schedule now as I'm talking, that would be really great.
But can I throw in this question, and you can answer that while I do that? This is a question from Alex Kavanagh. Some companies didn't have any meetings available, such as Intercom and Microsoft, despite being ready to book at 12. Another company, UX company, didn't allow me to book an appointment since it was not in their criteria of courses, despite studying it my own course. Do you know why this is? So I'll get the thing.
Okay, so they're really, really good questions, and thank you so much for those questions. And so what I'll say to you is this. Some of the companies have been a little bit slow putting up schedules, and we're kind of chasing them a little bit on that, but we're also chasing our own tail. So I haven't had my eye on that particular ball as much as I should have. So I have to take some responsibility for that. So I'm sorry about that experience for you. And we will getting in there and chasing those companies to get their schedules up. Look, everybody's busy, right? And I'm busy, they're busy, everybody's got projects on, the whole lot. So that's the first question. Okay, so that doesn't mean that they're not putting schedules up. Any stands that is there will have schedules up. It just some may be a bit slower than others. Okay, so that's the first question. The second question is, there's a UX company there, but because my course isn't in it, or that they haven't, they have that they've obviously put some kind of parameters on that. Okay, so I would love you to email me that experience, dawn.o'connor@iadt.ie, because I may need to touch base with that company and say, listen, guys, this is what's happened for a student here. And actually, I'm not sure you want this to quite happen, because we did talk about, what's the word I'm looking for, Rebecca, when they went through, we did talk to all of the companies. We had an onboarding webinar.
Yeah, about the multi-potentiality of all of our students and how
not about that, but they put prerequisites. Okay, so sorry, that's the word I was looking for. So there is a piece where they can put prerequisites on, and they can say, oh look, these are the courses I'm interested in. And what we said to them was, listen, don't put prerequisites on, because you could be missing lots of people in other courses because they specify and go in different directions regardless of what course they're on. So that company that you're talking about, was it Rebecca? Was that who asked the question?
No, it was Alex.
Alex, sorry. Kavanagh. That company that you're talking about, Alex, maybe didn't hear that properly. So I would love to reach out to them and say, listen, actually, this has impacted the students. We did talk about that. You maybe didn't take it on board. You can
Yeah,
imagine
no worries.
there's lots of information that these companies need to take on board to get themselves up onto the platform and all of that kind of thing. So that could just have been an honest mistake. So please, Dawn O'Connor, much easier. Don't even remember that. Press reply to the newsletter email, and that's me. Okay, so just the jobs newsletter that you got on Friday, just press reply. Alex, just lay that out for me. Tell me which company it is, and if anybody has experiences like that, you've got to reach out to us. Rebecca, Louisa, myself. You've got to reach out to us and tell us, because then we know and then we can make some changes. These companies are very interested in meeting you, and they're not the type to want to kind of create that. That would be, and maybe they are. Maybe they're saying, well, you know what, Dawn, let's make that clear, or let's make that clear for them that that's what's happening. Okay, so yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Is this the slide you're looking for?
This is the slide that I'm looking for.
Great.
And so you can see that the week coming up to what we're doing, we've sent this to you. You have this on that Friday email. So last Friday's email, you have this. You can go in and look at it at your leisure. Okay. Everything that we're doing is recorded. So tonight is recorded. The CV session from Monday's recorded. The LinkedIn session from today is recorded. So you have all of that collateral. We're also giving you all presentations that we have. We're creating everything that you need. If you aren't sure what to do with your CV, sit down for an hour and watch the careers session. Don't judge me on it, okay? I don't want you disliking me forever. I tend to talk off the bat as I'm doing now, and I certainly did that in the CV session. But I think it makes it a little bit enjoyable and interesting as well, because I'm just not BSing anybody. This is what I know and this is what I understand. And it's for the creatives as much as it's for business. And that can be difficult to kind of, to talk about sometimes, or but it absolutely is for you, and it's for all of you. So watch it, because I think that you will be surprised at what you learn in that session. And everything that you need, the sample CV, the action verbs I'm talking about, all of those things are in that email that I sent you on Friday. So you have the session to listen to, and you have those sample pieces to kind of work from. So a lot of the work is done for you guys. You just need to be a bit proactive in terms of actually watching and watching, and you have the whole weekend to do this. Okay, so that's it. And also, just to flag that, just before I move on to the second half, tomorrow I am I've got CV clinics out there. Now, I have put enough CV clinics at the moment to see how many people are going to come on board. So they're not full yet, okay? So you get on, it shows you exactly in that email how you get on to book a CV clinic. Do it, because you will have 10 minutes of me going, dum, 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 done. You're off, you're gone, and you're doing your own thing, and you're putting your CV together, okay? So it just is what it says on the tin. It's a CV clinic, a little bit of a shot in the arm for your CV, and off you go, put it together, and boom, it's up on your profile. And you see, the amazing thing about this platform, whether you go to a group session or whether you see a company one-to-one, your CV, your collateral, your LinkedIn, that all goes to the company. Whatever you have on your profile, they get, okay? So whether you are seeing people one-to-one or not, that's the stuff that they get, okay? So don't let the CV, LinkedIn, or lack of it, or whatever, be an obstacle for you. Just get a little bit proactive over the next few days and get it together. And look, is it an absolute deal breaker if you're going to group sessions and you don't have a CV in your profile? And, no, it's not. If you hear something that you really like in a group session, and you haven't your CV isn't with the company, you can email them later and say, look, I was at your session, I really enjoyed it, I didn't have my CV at the time, here it is. So just don't let anything be an obstacle to getting involved. Get involved. That's what we're saying. Before I go on to the schedule of the panels, do you want to jump in with anything there, guys, Louisa or Rebecca?
No, I'm good. I was just going to say, do you want to go through the panels on the day and then get into
I was just kind of doing it in a little bit of a structured way. But if you have anything to add to what we've just been saying there, before I go on, jump in.
I love your authenticity. I love your passion. Isn't this woman amazing?
Okay, so I really wanted her to talk about, this. I'm only joking, but thanks for that. I really appreciate that. Okay, so again, all of these sessions on the day, okay, they will be recorded. So you don't have to worry about them. However, there is nothing like being there live and throwing in a question into the panel and hearing it being asked and answered. Like really, there's nothing like it, okay? So if you can make a session, do, but prioritize any appointments you have with companies, obviously, over the panel sessions, because they're going to be recorded and you can view them later, okay? So that's the first thing. The second thing is, please be at the launch at 12, because I suppose for me, all right, I've worked with a lot of you, okay? Now, not as much as I've wanted to, not as many of us as I wanted to, but we'll change that. We'll change that culture slowly but surely between us. We're going to change that culture. I'm going to bring careers into the fabric of what it is that you do. I promise you that, okay? That's my mission. That's what I want to do. I want to show you that, yes, it's all about college, but at the same time, it's also all about your career. So let's get the two of them working together and kill two birds with one stone, okay? So we will do that together. If you're in first year, I'm delighted because I have you for another 3 years after this, okay? If you're in second year, I have you for another 2 years after this. If you're in final year, I'm sorry I don't have you, but you know what? I have you as a graduate for as many years as we want, okay? So, you know, we get to really work with that. And if you're a graduate listening to this, you get to come to me as well. So look, you know, I'm there to support you in anything careers. And I say this to you every week, and I really mean it. The amount of people that come into me, and this is why I'm on this, okay, to say, look, I just don't know. I don't know what I bring. I don't know what skills I have. I don't know what I want to do. I don't know, and I don't know is a very big part of what I hear from students, okay? And for me, that is a fantastic place to be, okay? Because it's a crossroads, and now we get to create it. So we get to create, and I have lots of tests that I can work with. I've got psychometric tests, I've got ability tests, I've loads of things that we can do. I've been a career coach for a very, very long time. 10 years in my own company, okay? Facilitating, coaching executives, top level right down. So you are getting something for free, and this isn't just me selling myself, right? But that you would pay between 600 and 1,000 for outside, okay? That's for a couple of sessions, right? So I just want to let you know that you're getting this for free right now, okay? So as a student, you've got to start using that. But you see that I don't know piece? I have, and we have as a team, a number of panelists coming into that Rocking Alumni panel. We've got someone from New York, we've got someone from LA. They're all dialing in internationally, right? The New York person has to be up at 7, right, to do this panel. This is how interested they are, okay? We have national panelists as well from all over. So these people are in lots of different careers, from film to design to IT to, look, just come. Because they are coming in for a number of reasons. One of them is this. They were you. These are IADT alumni that have made it in their fields. They stood in your shoes in first year, in second year, in third year, in fourth year, in postgraduate, as a graduate trying to make it. They stood in your shoes, and they are coming back to tell you why IADT students are where it's at. What it is that you need, the things that they did, the experiences that they had, what worked for them. You cannot miss this. If you have any worries about what it is that you bring or why a company would be interested in you anyway, you have to make it there. Because if nothing else, it's hugely, hugely interesting. That's the first piece. That's the kickoff. The fair then starts at 1 till 5. And in that fair, we have 4 other panel discussions. The first being the future of IT, and it's really around creative workspaces and that development of kind of creative methodologies and all that kind of thing, and what this industry looks like now, what they're looking for, and into the future. Just because you're not in IT doesn't mean you shouldn't be here. If you listened to what we said about LinkedIn and production, and you know, all of these companies are the same. Now, if you are in IT, you definitely need to be there if you're not in another appointment, by the way, right? But you know, I just want you to start to open and broaden the lens a bit. Pardon the pun, because we're coming to the film industry next, right? I just want you to broaden the lens a bit, because you don't know what you don't know yet. And that's the same with, we make decisions all the time. Oh, this company does this, this company does this, this company does this. And actually, you're enlightened all the time in terms of what that company does. So definitely make it to some of those group sessions where the company is presenting to you about what they do. Then at 2 o'clock, we have Crack the Film Industry. Phenomenal, you know, a response from Screen Skills Ireland, the Screen Guilds of Ireland. Oh, guys, you're going to have to help me here. Who else is there that I'm not missing?
Sorry.
The Screen Guild Directors of Ireland, and
Yes.
we have, and there's one more that maybe that's still on a bit of thing. So that's a really interesting thing in terms of how to crack the industry, what they're looking for, the roles that are there, the different things that you need to know. Okay, so that's definitely one to be at. And that when I say film industry, okay, I really needed to call this crack the screen industry, because we have someone there who wants to talk about VXF, who wants to talk about animation, who wants to talk about lots and lots of different things that come into screen rather than just film. So that's really important to note. So please, again, widen the lens, and I'm not trying to pun. Okay, then we have Meet the Entrepreneurs. And the reason I'm kind of rushing through this now, by the way, is because I know that I want to talk to you about interviewing and things around that. And I also know we want to have a questions and answer session. So I'm not going to delay a little bit. And that's why I'm kind of firing things out. Meet the Entrepreneurs. Just because you are not doing business does not mean that this panel and this company, which we're calling a company, is not for you. If you go into the Entrepreneurs Hub, you will see a number of different entrepreneurs that are in there, you know, and they are looking for custom 3D model makers. They are looking for, they're working on VX technologies. They're looking for developers. They're looking for designers. They're looking for content. Actually, Clear Story International are looking for content writers. So EMCS, or you know, or New Media, or you know, numbers of different courses. So the Entrepreneurs isn't about you know, business students only. None of these are about just what they're, you know, the title of them. Okay, you need to get in there if you're a customer, if you're a 3D model maker worth their salt, if you like creating what's the word I'm looking for when you kind of create the building and you can go in and look at it. You can go in and look at the building, virtually look at the building.
Oh yeah,
you can go in and you know what I'm talking about. Hey, there you go, augmented reality. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you so much. The tiredness kicks in. Okay, so you know, so lots of different companies in the Meet the Entrepreneurs piece, and some of them are at different levels. Some of them are kind of, you know, have 2 people working in them. Some of them have more. Okay. And then we have at 4 o'clock we have make it as an artisan creative. So we're pretty nearly sure that we have the Arts Council coming to that, but actually we also have a number of freelancers coming to that in art. We have the Gate Theatre who's there in that panel as well. So really around the kind of funding and the freelancing, and so anybody who's looking at that as their career needs to be there. So look, in short, there's a lot happening. There's a lot to get involved in. And we need you to be as proactive, I suppose, as you can be. One of the things that we're really looking for is that you show these companies they're interested in you, that you're also interested in them. And that's really important to us because, again, we didn't push through any doors. We really didn't push very hard. These companies actually wanted to be here to meet you. So I'd love if you could show that you want to be there to meet them. And I know that the attendees that I'm talking to here, you know, we're pushing against an open door with you. You're here, so you're interested, you know, but I'd love you to be champions. I'd love you to bring this out into the other graduates that you know that are looking for stuff. If you're a graduate, if you're a postgraduate, other people who are in your class who may not have been so involved, that to know that this is the kind of stuff that's going on. If you're first, second, third, or fourth year, come on, be our champions. Get into your classes and really start to tell them. And I suppose I'm saying this in the full knowledge that this is going to be recorded as well. So for those people who aren't here right now, but you are watching this, you know, come on, get some fire in the belly, I suppose. Show these companies what IADT is about. Show them that you're interested in them as much as they're interested in you. The roles that some of them have are so interesting. You've just got to come and actually just go to a group session. Don't even, you know, if you really don't feel comfortable going to a one-to-one, you know, or you've just got to come and snap up the one-to-ones, because these companies are here to actually meet you. It's 10 minutes. We're not talking about a 40-minute interview here. What damage can you do in 10 minutes? Very little, but you could create an opportunity of a lifetime for yourself. So look, that's really, really important. And I think at this juncture, if you guys, I'm going to just, we might get to the presentation around the interview piece, but okay, you know, you jump in there with anything else that you want to say.
No, I just wanted to say, if you wanted to get to the tips on the day first, or will we go into interviewing and then leave the tips, which is fine. I think interviewing is really, because people need to prep up. for
Yeah,
that.
so I think the interviewing is the thing that we'll do, and then if we have time for tips of the day, we might put it up when we're doing the questions and answers piece at the end.
That sounds
Maybe
fantastic.
we just share that screen with the questions and answers piece at the end.
Okay, so I'm showing my main screen, which is not showing what I want it to show. Is that it there? Yes, I believe it is.
You just need to start the slideshow. That's
There
cool.
we
Okay,
are.
thank you so much, Rebecca. And look, I have to say thanks a million to Rebecca and Louisa, because they have been absolutely phenomenal in coming together and collaborating on this. I couldn't have done it without them. And you know, the FYMMO team have been central. And also, it's so difficult to have someone else's presentation and have to flip through. So this is going to be really kind of, you know, this is going to be cool, and we'll just see how this goes. But you know, so thanks so much for that. And I suppose if you've had me before, and if you've seen anything that I presented before, you'll know that I always start with this slide. And if you're hearing this again, I'm sorry, right? You know, if you're at the session on the CVs, or you know, I'm sorry, but I do need to say to those people who haven't been here, I don't care what it is that you've done around your career up until today. Today is a new day, okay? So I don't care what it is that you regret, what it is you didn't do, the mistakes that you made. You know, today is a new day. I don't care that you don't know or you're so confused. Today is a new day. So, you know, and that's why this graphic is so important to me, that idea of the sun rising again, because tomorrow is a new day. You get to actually put work into this now and engage with this now, regardless of what you've done before. We will build it, and I'm here to support you to build together. You know, whether it's coming into your classes, whether it's you and me one-on-one, we will build this, but you just have to be a little bit proactive about it and actually put yourself out there, like, you know, get involved. And you're already getting involved because you're here, so I'm not saying that. Be our champions, get out there and get everybody else around you to get involved as well. Okay, Rebecca, I'm going to bring you to the next slide. So this is me, right? And this is where we should be, or if you're graduating, this is probably what you remember, you know, that we were, and we're not there now, okay? But the sunny days are on their way back, that's all we can say, and hopefully it'll be sooner rather than later. Has it been a balls of a year? Absolutely. But you know what? We have an absolutely amazing end to it. You know, this is such a positive, good news story that these companies are so interested in us and what they do, and that they're still continuing their business. Okay, so in terms of interviewing then, the good news is, because interviews are hard, we get worried about them. We get worried about putting ourselves in front of companies, about talking about, you know, what it is that we do, or, you know, or really just talking about ourselves. You know, it can be a very anxiety-ridden thing for us, okay? And so what I want to say to you is, actually, you know what? There's good news. What I want to say to you also is, never go to an interview, apart from this one, which is 10 minutes, not really an interview, okay? So never go to an interview without coming to me for a mock interview first, okay? Because that's a game changer. You can change your interview game if you come to me and have a mock interview before you ever go into to the door of that interview, okay? So the good news about interviews is this. It's a strategy, and we can all learn strategy. Every single one of us. You're doing a degree in college, or you've done a degree in college. You're a graduate, you're doing a postgraduate. Strategy, we do strategy, okay? It's about thinking about what we're it's about planning it out, it's about managing. In fact, 95% of your interview happens before you ever walk through that door, okay? Really, the interview itself, that's just the 5%. That's the final 5%. The work that you do beforehand is the interview, okay? And that's the strategy, okay? So let's talk a little bit about that. And I'm going to ask Rebecca to go to the next slide. Okay, so there are a few basics here. You will have 10 minutes in this interview. If I was walking you through, you know, a real interview, we'd walk through kind of definitely 10 questions together to start to get you to prep those kinds of answers for yourself. And there's a very key model that I use for that. But these are the interview basics. And, you know, in a 10-minute interview, really, you're not going to have a huge amount of time, right? 10 minutes goes by like that. Well, you know that. So have an answer to the tell me about yourself question. This is your elevator pitch. What is it that you want the company to know about you straight away? Okay, and you know, and I'd say to you, rather than say, you know, look, they have your CV, right? Because your CV has probably gone through with your profiles. They have that. So you could waste this question and say, well, I did this, and I go to IADT, you know, because tell me about yourself. It's such a general question, right? I was born in Holles Street, 1975. In fact, the sun was shining as my parents were driving in. So I was meant to be Michelle, actually. but my mum called me Dawn, Michelle. There you go. That's my story, right? Tell me about yourself. That's what they asked. You get to bring it down to specifics, okay? And actually, this question needs to be rolling out of your tongue. You need to be saying this to yourself in the mirror. And I would start the answer to this question not by going through your CV. They have your CV, right? There are probably 2 things that you should know about me. 1, I'm absolutely UX mad. So, or, not that obviously, but I'm really, really interested in UX. So, I'm just studying psychology, but UX, and I use an example, okay? And I'm going to talk to you about how you use that example in a minute. And the second thing that you should know, and why we structure answers in that way is because you see, when I give someone a map, there's probably 2 things that you should know about me. And I go, firstly, then they're in their heads, they're going, okay, this is the first thing. And now I know there's one other thing left after this. So there's a map I'm giving to them all the time. And I'm leading the interview. I get to lead the interview. The great news is 85% of viewers have never been trained to interview. What does that mean? It means they ask stupid questions, number 1. Really general ones, like tell me about yourself. But we get to lead that interview and bring it right down into specifics, okay? Because they've never been trained to interview. They're just asking the questions that they were asked in their interviews. That's great knowledge for us. You want to practice the strengths and weakness question, okay? Because, that's a great one to have. What's your strengths? And you won't be asked a weakness question in this 10 minutes, but if you are asked a weakness question, think of something that's very close to your heart, something that's very true. I get dragged into detail, whatever it is. Listen, everybody says I'm a bit of a perfectionist. Lose that one, okay? That's not, you want to not leave the weakness in the room. So it might be, I find it hard to confront people. And, when I run a group project, I use the example when I was on a group project, someone wasn't pulling their weight and it was really difficult for me to go and actually say that to them. But what I've learned and you end with what you've learned and what you've put in place to make that better. So you never leave a weakness in the room. All right. So you just think about, well, what is it that I find hard personally? And really, because the closer you stay to the truth, the more powerful your answer is. But you never leave a weakness in the room, okay? You reformulate it. And you always want to inquire about next steps, okay? So what's coming next? And I'm giving you at the end of this presentation, again, which you'll be able to look up, and we'll have that for you up so that you can just download it and you won't have to listen to everything again. Okay, so we use the STARV model in interviews. So do you remember I said, you describe the situation, the task, the action you took. So in that example where I was talking to you about the tell me about yourself question, and I said, I'm so interested in UX. So for example, by the way, they're my 2 best friends in an interview. Those 2 words, for example, they're your 2 best friends, because every time you start to answer an interview question, you're looking for your opportunity to put for example in. So whatever Rebecca asks me there, I'm looking for my opportunity to put in for example. And once I put those for example words in, it brings me straight to the STARV model: situation, task, action, result, and value. So what was the situation? What was this task? Explain the action you took. And generally, it's a couple of actions. So I did this, and I did this, and what was the result? And well, look, it got better. We brought footfall up by 20%. Don't just leave it at that. What was the value? What did I learn? What was good for the company? What did the customer get out of it? That's the value. So don't just stop on the results. People just stop. Yeah, so look, it was 20% better at the end. Boom. And we all fall off a cliff into the end of the answer. Value is the boom that you want to leave in the room. And that's what you're trying to get to. Okay, so that's what we learned along the way. That's, what I learned personally, what it brought for the company, what it brought for the customer, what this did, this result. That's the value. So make sure that you're hitting each of the bases on this model. And you get to practice this. Okay? And I'm going to go to the next slide, please, Rebecca.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think I jumped one.
Yeah, so in terms of your STARV stories, then where's they come from? I'm in first year. I don't have a huge amount of work experience. Well, I had a part-time job here, and Where do they come from? Well, it comes from your work experience. So if you have that part-time job, and again, regardless, look at the LinkedIn session. Your part-time job is really important, even though it's not in IT or even though it's not in design. Okay, it's important because it tells me so many different things about you. You're balancing work and college life. You're getting your deadlines. You're also hitting your targets in work. It tells me so much about you. So, you know, that question gets asked to me all the time. Do I put these on? Yes, you absolutely do. And you can use a STAR model from there as well. Your group projects, internships, volunteering, travel, sports, when I was class rep, if that's something, you know, or personal projects, and so much more. Okay, whatever your interests are, a STAR story can come from that. And I'm going to ask you to fly on again there, Rebecca. Again, you'll have all of these presentations, so you can come back on this and have a look at what it is that I realize I'm flying through at the moment. So again, I want to make my answer concise. That's the thing about a STAR story. That's what it does for you, because it stops you rambling. Rambling, you see, in an interview, if you are lost, right? Oh, what was the question again? And I'm just still talking. I can't even remember what the question was. I'm still talking. If I'm just going to ask you to go back to that again. Sorry, Rebecca. If you are lost, the interviewer is also lost. The STAR story allows you, keep it concise, know exactly where you are. I actually use my fingers when I'm giving, you know, in an interview. What was the situation, the task, the action, the result, the value? I have my hands on my knee and I'm like, where am I? And see if I realize, oh my God, I'm rambling. Where was I? And my middle finger is down. I know I was on actions. So I go straight back to actions again. Okay, so look, there are lots of little things that you can do in order to just stay on the STAR story so that it's concise, because you're giving, and you're not saying, well, the situation was, the task was, the action was. That's in your head. What's coming out is just the story. And you have the structure in your head, but they're just getting a potted paragraph. There is an absolute sea of difference between a STAR interview and another interview. I can't even, they're different lands entirely. I can't even describe. And I have sat at this side of the interview desk at too many occasions not to try and get that across to you. Huge difference. It's a game changer. Feels clunky at the start to do, feels really clunky. As you get used to it, you won't do business any other way. Okay, so we'll move on to the next slide now. So you get to illustrate your competencies, right? So this is what I said before, just to recap. Make the words, for example, your best friend. Use these words at every available opportunity and portray honesty. You know, like, you know, really, what is my weakness? Let's portray honesty. And but actually showing the palms of your hands. Look, I'm a psychologist. I can't help it. You know, that actually, you know, if you that portrays honesty. Because if you think about it, I've had a 4-year-old, she's now 13, but you know, I didn't do it. I don't know what you're talking about. Palms of the hands, right? And you know that she doesn't do it. When she comes in and she goes, you can't show your mouth, you know? So, you know, keep your hands away from your mouth in an interview is a really good tip, because that actually, like, just, you know, it brings us to a different place in terms of what it is that we remember. And the value is the punchline. This is where you'll win. But that doesn't mean that if I did it again, I wouldn't have done it this way. That shows learning. So look, what I learned was that, you know, if I was to do this process again, I do this, this, and this, because actually, bum, bum, bum. And oh my God, as an interviewer, I'm like, this person learns as they go, and they put in those kinds of things, okay? And we got the result, but we could have got a better, easier if. When the same happened recently, we were a lot more prepared. It just demonstrates honesty and integrity, and shows you wanting and willing to learn and willing to bring it forward. Okay, so we're going to go to the next slide now. Thanks, Rebecca. So here's an example, okay? And I don't love this example, by the way, because they didn't get to the value, but I'm going to show you the next one, which does have value in it. But I just want to give you a couple of examples, okay, so that you can kind of go away and see what we're talking about here. So I'm tasked with streamlining and improving efficiencies of the lab within 1 month. There's the situation and task together. I'm not asking you to go, okay, oh, and then what was the task? You know, then you can put them together. And to do this, these are the actions. I completed an audit of the equipment logbooks. I identified desired improvements. I implemented new practices, and all within a specified time frame. Brilliant actions, okay? And what did we do? We got a 30% improvement. Boom. So what does that mean, right? That I just fell off a cliff there, because I've not, great, you got a 30% improvement. I've nothing to kind of contextualize that or tell me what that meant for anybody, okay? So the value is missing, all right? So if we go on to the next one, I wanted to give you, an effective communicator. On behalf of ABC Bank, I successfully developed a presentation on online banking for pre-retirees. Now, what I would say to you, see the way they put the task and action together? Don't love that either, right? So what did you do? I put a PowerPoint together. I researched information in terms of I looked at what the bank was doing. These are the actions. So I want you to be a bit better on the actions piece, okay? And then, so what was the result? 90% of attendees that came to those sessions registered for online banking. These are retirees, and 90% of people who came to my session registered. So wow, that's a brilliant result. And then the value of that, okay, well, this ensured greater efficiencies for the branch, and you can talk a little bit more about that, and that's the value, right? Or I learned that actually, even with people that you kind of have made made a decision about in your head, retirees, they're never going to go online. Well, actually, guess what? 90% of them did. Okay, so you get to be human with the people that you're interviewing with, but the STARV model is absolutely central. So I just wanted you to just take that on board. Okay, so Rebecca, we're going to the next slide, please. So then we're looking at, it's always good to have a couple of questions in your back pocket for the end of the interview. What would you want this person to achieve in the first 3 months for you, for it to be the right person? Great question, because it's placing you in the role. And I would even say, look, what would I need to achieve in the first 3 months in the role? So again, you're really even pushing that further. You take every opportunity to place yourself in the role. It's the same reason you use the STARV model. It's the same reason you use, for example, because you're placing yourself in the role. Okay, what are the biggest tasks someone would need to get a grip with in the first month? Good question, because I need to know, like, how do I hit the ground? Or what are the biggest tasks I would need to get to grip with? Again, I'm always placing myself in the role. What's a typical week look? What would a typical week look like for me? What's the structure? Who would I be reporting to? When am I likely to hear what the next steps are? What are the types of projects and responsibilities? What are your challenges at the moment? What's your biggest challenge here? That's a really good question. Well, how can I help you solve it? What's the profile of the staff? And then, maybe there's some things raised in the interview that you kind of want to ask them a bit further about. I wouldn't ask them really substantial questions about things they'd already talked about, just if you want to kind of just figure out that, what's something a little bit that you kind of look at, a little bit. Okay, so we'll move on to the piece. Okay. So what's the benefit?
Sorry, we only have 10 minutes left. I'm really sorry to say
and
this.
I think we talked about the benefit of STARV. So we'll go on to the next. Slide, because I think we're just there. So these are this is the final slide. These are the top interview tips. Seek to serve, not to get. Again, what's the problem that you currently face that I can help you solve? Bring an idea to the interview. Please research these companies. I'm not asking you to come in with an idea, but at least know with what they do. And say, and say, look, and map that to what it is, something that you've done and why you're interested in them. Send an old school thank you note. Absolutely, definitely do that. Not only be prepared, look prepared, and we have tips in the section in terms of just clearing the clutter behind you and all of that kind of thing, because this is online. And make sure that, I know you're using this app on the phone. You're using this app on the phone all the time, and you're building your profile on the phone and all that kind of thing. But on the day, be on your desktop. Be on your desktop, because you're in a video room much like this. You don't want to be on a phone doing this and getting the picture. You want to be in the video room. You're going in, you're knocking. It's an amazing system, by the way. It's an amazing system, and you are going to love it, and it really is easy to use. But you want to be sitting in in a way that you can actually just relax and chat. Okay, build rapport with the interviewer, and people hire who they like, so greet warmly, use eye contact. And eye contact in a video room is, you've got to make sure you look at the camera. Like right now, I'm looking at the camera and I'm looking directly at you. So you've got to make sure that you're doing that sometimes. And I realize now that I've been looking all over here and here and here while I've been thinking, but if you're looking directly at the camera, that's eye contact, all right? So just make sure that that's fine to look around everywhere as you're thinking, but make sure that one of the places that you look at is the camera as you're talking, okay? And it's great because you actually don't have to look in people's eyes, right, anymore. When you try to do eye contact in the real world, That could be off-putting, but now you've got a camera to look at. Brilliant. Okay, look interested, speak clearly, all of that kind of lovely stuff. You know, and show your enthusiasm and your passion. Okay, so that's it. That's it for me in terms of interviews. You know, I think that we've probably given you enough in terms of that. Again, we'll have the presentation up there so that you can just download it and have a kind of look through it and refresh yourself, especially around the STARV model. You know, seeing that in action is a really good thing to have. Q&A. Okay, so are we there? Are we at Q&A? Is that where we are now?
I think we should share.
That we needed to do.
Let's share on the stuff on the day. Just the on the day slide, if I can just get that up.
Okay.
So sorry.
Okay, so while Rebecca's doing that and she's putting the on the day slide up, I just want to say to you, listen, you know, thanks for being here. Thanks for showing the interest that you're showing, whether you're watching this live or you're watching this as a recording. You know, I hope what we're doing is getting across to you that this fair has been all about you. It's been built for you, which is the reason that, and this was Rebecca's idea, to send a survey out to all of the students and the staff to see, you know, what companies people wanted there. And as much as possible, we definitely reached out to all of those companies that you said you wanted, and as much as possible, we got them there. Now, for lots of different reasons, companies couldn't come, right? So, you know, and you know, and we've got to take that on the chin for lots of different reasons. And so we're hoping that nobody is entirely disappointed, but can I just say to you, there is something there for everybody. And I honestly want you to email me to tell me that there isn't something there for you, because I will give you a different story on that, and I'll give you an insight into actually maybe you're just not seeing there's this, and this, because honestly, I can't see a course in IADT or graduates or you know, or postgraduates that there isn't a company there that they should be there listening to. So so honestly, you know, get on board, and we'd love to see you there. First thing you need to do right now is download the app and just go in and have a look, and then think about creating your account. Really simple. It's a username and a password, folks. It really isn't rocket science. And then you can add your collateral as you go. Now, Rebecca, you wanted to jump in there somewhere.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say we do have questions. So if anyone has any more questions, pop them into the question box. We're almost getting there, and that's really important. I was wondering if maybe Louisa could take us through this this particular one.
And is there a question just before we go through that? Is there a question that we could answer now, or?
Sure, there is. There's one.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, actually, there's just a lot of compliments, Dawn. Ethan, it's kind of well. I'll tell you that one later. But anyway, Ethan says that you're getting him fired up for this, which is great.
Okay, brilliant. I'm delighted, Ethan, because can I just say, I do realise that I look like the wreck of the Hesperdes. I was just saying to the guys earlier that I had hardly put a brush through my hair. I actually really didn't. I kind of did the finger thing. So, like, you know, I'm absolutely just. I'm fired up for this too. So I am delighted if that's what's happened for you, that you're fired up for it, because you should be. This is your opportunity. You get to build this. This is Project You, and we get to work on this together. And I love, and we all love, all of us here who've worked on this, we are finding this so positive. It's such a positive event, which is amazing when you consider the year that we're just coming out of. You know, these employers that are getting stuck in and are here for you, and you know, and letting you know that they are here for you. It is absolutely fantastic. So Ethan, I really do thank you for that comment, because I do think that, you know, that goes both ways. You know, you're fired up. We are so fired up as well, and I'm glad that that's coming across. So thanks for that.
Alex asks, what exactly is the aim of the one-to-ones? And I mean, there's two different one-to-ones. The first one-to-one is tomorrow, and that's with Dawn. You can have 10 minutes, and she has some slots available. Go back to the email she sent last Friday to find out how to sign up for those, for her to have a quick look at your CV and help you refine it in a really quick way. The one-to-ones on March 16th are about you sitting down with an employer and having an interview in a 10-minute slot.
Yeah. And you know, look, and I wouldn't even scare yourself by saying the word interview. Go and have a chat. You know, you're going into a chat, you're saying, look, this is what you're looking for. I'm really interested. Look, I'm in third year, I'm in, you know, I'm in fourth year, or whatever it is, you know, and this is what I've done, and listen to what they have to say, but go in knowing that you want your elevator pitch. Look, if they say, look, just tell me about yourself, if that's the first thing that they say to you, you want to have your answer ready for that in the best way that you can. And I'm not saying that that's anything perfect. Nobody's looking for perfect here. You know, I will walk you through interview scenarios, and I'll bring you through mock interviews and we will absolutely get you where you need to be. That's not what you need to be for this 10-minute slot with any of those companies next week. That's not where you need to be, okay? That's, so don't worry too much about it. Go in, find the companies that you're interested in, have a look, say, I'm not sure I'm interested in them, but I'm definitely going to a group meeting, or, yeah, look, I'm going to give this a lash, let me just go in and have a chat. That's it. So just, yes, it's an interview situation, but just don't put too much pressure on it. It's not just you they're coming to see. They're coming to see lots of people. So you may have one that just doesn't go your way. So what? Get back on the horse. And that's possibly not going to happen either. I'm not meaning to put a fear in your head. These are nice people, right? And they're looking for you to do well. They're there to support you. They're here because they're interested. So just go with that vibe, right?
I mean, think it's beginning a relationship. So that it's just basically a first, date.
Yeah, it's like seeing it, go and look at the welcome letter. Go and look at the welcome letter on the app and that'll tell you what it is. It's an opportunity. You're creating connections. It's an opportunity to create connections that may even come into something like some of these people have freelance opportunities. They need 3-month work projects done, but they have investors coming on board and they know that these are going to turn into full-time roles. They know that. Okay. So, these are opportunities and maybe it won't be a fit for you, but that's what you want to find out.
And then we have one from Laura Kilroy, which is really good. Is it too late for students to sign up? I know many of my peers haven't because they thought the deadline was yesterday. That was the opening.
No, that was the opening. It's not too late. They need to get on now. And again, Laura, is it Laura?
Lauren.
Lauren, you need to be our champion on that. So I need you all to go out of here and be our champions and into your classes, into your to your other fellow graduates, to your fellow postgraduates, to anybody you meet. Just tell them, no, it's not too late. That was the opening. You can sign up right on the day. On the day you can sign up into sessions, but I wouldn't advise leaving it till there if you really want to get the companies that you want to get, because slots are going to fill up and and all of that kind of thing. So right until we finish at 5 o'clock, you can still sign up. So if you go to a group meeting with a company and you go, actually, they're really interesting, and there's a one-on-one slot ready there that you could grab in an hour, you get to do that. So right up until 5 o'clock, you get to sign up. So really good question. And oh my God, maybe we need to throw something out about that and get people to know that there was no deadline, because that's a really critical piece for us. So thank you so much for asking that question, really.
Great, that's wonderful. So those are the questions that we have here. If there's any more, but I do have thank you from Ethan. Absolutely, Ethan, you're very welcome. And so I mean, this is a great little, you'll see this, it's in the newsletter this week, isn't it?
It's in the newsletter. It's actually up on the platform as well. It's on Careers Fair Plus. So all of this is there. So go and look at it. We won't go through it. We don't have time. There are tips there, and just look. We've given you lots of them tonight anyway.
Absolutely.
But this is all there for you. So is there anything else burning that we want to say, Rebecca?
Just looking forward to the fair. It's coming in from Matthew Kenny, and I 100%. Thank you so much. And I just, let me thank you, Dawn, for your continued excitement, and the most amazing Caroline Healy for her behind the scenes work. Louisa, you really got to stop talking. You're overwhelming me with it.
Yeah, but can I finish on one line though, Rebecca? And it's a line that I kind of want to get right. So can we finish on this, please? Because So instead of waiting for Patrick's Day for your luck this year, on the 16th of March at this fair, make your own. And that's it.
Thank you all very much.
And can I just say that's the first time I got that line right. Okay, go.
That's awesome. Great. Well done.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.